This conference will now be recorded.
Hope everybody had a good day today. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. Remember that back in the day?
No, I'm an 80s baby, so I don't know about
I'm an
that.
80s baby too.
I'm like late 80s. I'm 88.
Oh, back in '88 when I was pushing weight,
Right.
you was a ballerina. I got the pictures. I seen you. You know? Yeah, I ain't that far off. I was born in '82. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay, my husband was born in 83.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I was born during the crack era. That's why I'm a crack baby. You know what I mean?
Great.
So, good morning. I mean, good afternoon. No, hold on. Good evening. We already went over that.
Good evening, Martez. Good evening, class. Good morning.
Good evening, man. I hope everybody had a good day. No stress day.
No
Boy, I
stress.
tell you, if you did anything, just don't get. Hope you didn't get your blood pressure up.
Mine's cool. Mine cool
I
now.
hope it was down. Cause
Yeah,
boy,
not cool, but down, right, brother?
it's down.
Yeah, for sure.
It's down, man.
Yeah.
Just down. Cause boy, it was a day.
How
Where
did
we
the
talking?
how did the 10 to noon go?
Huh?
How did that 10 to 12 go?
That 10 to 12, it was good.
That's good.
Yeah, there was
Are you
people
you
like,
be
oh,
doing that every
you
day?
didn't come to it?
I had therapy today.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I had OT and PT.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
I
it
could
was
be
good.
there I would have been there. Are you doing that every day, sir?
Yeah, from 10
Oh
to
yeah, I'll be
12.
always going. I'll be there tomorrow. Thank you so much. For sure.
Yeah.
No
A little
doubt.
hangout spot where you see me kick the shit and talk bullshit.
Oh,
And,
I'm with it. All right,
you know?
I've been in one of them. I had a quick one with you the one time.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
I hope everybody learned something today because, we did some teaching. We did some
That's what
learning.
it's about, baby.
I had fun. It was crazy. The phone didn't stop ringing.
It wasn't. I was like, you always keep getting a call. I didn't get, look, I was working while, because I work from home, but I was working while you was talking and listen. I'm like, I wasn't productive nowhere from 10 to 12.
Yeah, I'm mad I missed it.
My corporate job anyway.
That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that. Appreciate you,
Yeah.
Montez.
Shit, and then we booked the load. We made some money together too, because I already had some. I negotiated a rate and didn't even take the load. Had them calling on the hook.
Oh yeah, that was a blessing. That's what's up, man. That's what it's
Did the
all
guy in
about.
New York decide to take that load that you had earlier? The one in
You
New
want?
York?
Oh, oh my goodness! You ain't gonna believe what went down with that. Mm. So we got the reefer load. Remember, I got the call. And I was talking to the guy about taking that load going down to New York. So I talked to the carrier because the driver he came with a whole bunch of restrictions, and you know what I mean. I got to be home to birth the baby, and I was all like, well, you ain't gonna make no money that way, and plus you're on commission. Like you got to chase the money. You're on commission. You know what I mean? So anyway, I talked to the carrier. She talked to him. So boom, she was like, yeah, it's a go. We're gonna book this load. Now here it is. He's hooked up to this trailer. I mean, to this reefer unit. When he's hooked up to this reefer unit, he didn't took the reefer unit, said that he inspected it and everything. All right, cool. He took off. Well, he gets to the pickup, the shipper of the load that we booked, so we can get to Amsterdam, New York. He's there talking about the reefer unit don't work. I said, what?
So he didn't inspect it like he was supposed to.
Man,
He
what?
said it came on one time, and then next day you know it came off and it ain't coming on no more. And so I'm like, well, if it came on, then you must be doing something wrong. Something got to be wrong.
Oh
But
wow.
so instead of telling me before he left, he told me what he in all the way in Massachusetts. Now we coming from Brattleboro, Vermont, so we 92 miles away. Well, 68 miles away from where we got picked up in Massachusetts. So he basically 60 miles away. You gonna wait till you get here to say that this thing ain't working? I was like, oh Lord. I like it. So I'll end up booking like now I'm finding this out after I booked this load. You gotta have this reefer unit on 30, 34 degrees. Like
Yep.
I'm for real. I'm dead serious. Where's it at? Got all these papers and stuff. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a busy day. I done got papers everywhere. Oh, there we go. That's not right. 34 degrees. That's what it gotta be on. Yeah, 34 degrees. You can't be at 34 degrees and the reefer's broke.
No, you can't.
So I had to cancel this load.
Ooh, Lord.
And there was some good money off that load too. Going that short of a
Going
distance.
100. It was going when it came up to it. It was 100 and 155 miles.
Damn.
That was the miles of the trip. So you take it that it was 155 miles, and it was 78
Got
miles.
4100. That was the one for 4100, right?
No, not that one.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
ain't had one for 4100 today. Not today, but I will let y'all know. But this one was for 1600. Remember when I was
Oh yeah,
talking to
16.
him?
Yeah, he said 15 at first, and you said 16.
Because of the
Yeah,
tolls
he
and
said
stuff.
he
Yeah.
never said 15. I was all like,
Hmm.
yeah, so this is 1600, right? He was like, well, I never said 16, but I said 15, but I'll do it. I was like, all right, whatever. 1600 it is. You know, book it, Danny. You know, but we had to unbook it. So, but you have to adjust. And I'll be going over that because that's going to be coming towards the end of the end of training tonight. Is basically handling problems. Okay, because that's a problem. That's something that you do not want to hear. When you sitting here chilling, thinking everything all good. I didn't book 5 loads before 10 o'clock. I'm chilling. You think I want to hear a problem right now? No. So, damn. Okay. So let me get this. Let me get this all logged in and everything. I heard a doo-doo. Somebody came in the room. This is the lab. Okay. You can refer as training class as going to the lab. You know, like say you going to the block. I'm going down the street. It's like I'm going to the lab real quick, trying to cook something up. Then people gonna say, "What y'all cooking?" Like, not your business. Just chill. You about to see. Alrighty. So yesterday we went over compliance. We're gonna do a brief overview on this equipment because that's what we ended up with, right? That's what we finished, talking about was this equipment. So when you are with this equipment, you got to know what you are talking about. You got to know these equipments. You got to know if it's a reefer. You got to know things about the reefer. Because and then now the driver. See, this is something that like I could blame on myself. Maybe I was letting him loose. He said he been driving for 2 years, 3 years. You know what I mean? Maybe I maybe I messed up to where I should have been asking them questions instead of assuming, right? So now I gotta go back and say, all right, well, can't do that shit with him. I'll make sure. So now for the next time, it could happen. Cause here it is, like all these trucks in Connecticut, and we just picked up one load out. So I didn't put 2 more trucks on them for tomorrow. So I'm gonna have 3 trucks out with loadouts. Hopefully these 2 reefers work. But now, since I'm doing it again, hey, make sure this shit work. Are we still gonna take it if it don't? Hell yeah, we're gonna take it. We still gonna take it. We just know that it don't work. But we just gotta make sure it's gas in it. Notice these reefers, you gotta put gas in them. Okay, these are things that you could follow up on, things that you could ask, things that you can basically, build your knowledge of learning the equipment. Because then next thing you know, you can get better at it. And then as you get better at it, watch people just like business is just gonna come to you because you're gonna be the reefer person. People gonna come up to you, hey man, you got some good reefer? Got that good reefer? Yeah, I got the units and the good stuff, but you gotta get the good stuff in the back. But know your equipment. The dry vans, if they got E-tracks, that goes for the box trucks too. Know your tractor. Know what it can pull. Know what it can haul. You might want to write this down. DEF. Did I say that yesterday? Last night?
Def.
Gotta make sure that, hey, ask if it's deleted. Because if it's not deleted, you ain't gonna be pulling no heavy loads. Especially depending on what market you in. Know what kind of truck that they pulling. And always know DEF needs to be deleted. Needs to be gone.
How long has that been?
That's been since 2012.
12?
Yeah, 2012, between the 2000, like going all the way, like literally longer than that. Literally longer than that. But that's where basically the main lines of it started. And then the Detroit engine, the DD15,
Mm-hmm.
that's an engine to stay away from. But you're gonna have to work with it. So you gotta make sure that you're not pulling no heavy loads with that type of engine. So the DD15 and the DEF delete, gotta watch out for it. Gotta make sure it's deleted. The average cost of a DEF for it to get deleted is around $2,500 to $3,500. It's a real expensive,
Detroit engines are the bad ones.
huh?
The Detroit engines are the bad ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So which one
Yeah.
should we get? Because I was looking
Huh?
at Detroit. I said,
Yeah, you
which
look
one
at,
should we
like,
get?
you
I said,
have
I
to
was
be
looking at
careful.
some Detroit ones.
They're bad. They don't. I put it like, well, I'm not gonna say that they're bad. They just have a lot of they just not pulling heavy loads, and it has a lot of problems that or expensive problems. You know what I mean? So that's basically stuff that I know with the 2 trucks that we got. Cause I'm sitting here looking at
Which one should we get?
Cascadia Frontliner,
Oh yeah.
like like those.
I look at
Um,
the Freightliner Cascadias, but those have the Detroit engines in them.
some of them do. I like the Peterbilts, so but the Detroit engines, all right, they're not a bad engine. It's just they have a lot of problems. That's it. That's basically it. But you can get out of those problems by not running heavy. That's the problem with these engines. Is some of them don't run as they're supposed to. That's why they're always in the shop. You gotta always do a tune up. Something's going on, especially with these used trucks. Everybody's buying a truck. You just gotta buy the right one.
Right.
You know what I mean? You gotta buy the right one. You just gotta do a lot of you like every brand is like built the same, just a little bit different. That's it. But you always need to know what your carrier is pulling, so you're not booking loads that this engine can't handle. So that comes with a lot of research, and that's it's something to ask. You know what I mean? On the longer, of course, of the conversation of talking to the carrier that you're trying to go after. You know what I mean? Just be all like, hey, what kind of engine do you have? Talk to them about it, and then you can learn something about it. You talk to him and you can learn from him, because then you're learning his experience with the engine. You're learning what he went through. You're learning why he don't want this certain truck or engine than this one. Ask him why he bought his truck. If somebody say I bought my truck because it was cheap, then he needs help. You need to red flag his ass. Like, all right, all right. So what kind of truck you got again? And where'd you get it? You know? So always pay attention to, your carrier's trucks, know their equipment. It's very important. It's important for you. The hot shots, you know? And then we're gonna look at these types of loads. So you can get an idea, what you're looking, you know what I mean, and what you're looking for. How you gonna how you
Woo!
gonna how you gonna plan? All right. So somebody pick up equipment. What we got?
Let's go reefer.
I don't mind if I do.
Where the money at?
I was gonna tell you why you doing this. Now we were talking earlier about ever since I made the changes as far as how I enter it into the load board, I'm able to find stuff now. So I figured it was an operator error, but I finally got it to where I can see what's going on now.
Okay. So you figured it out.
Yeah, I figured it out.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a good thing. All right. So I wanna let me damn, I put them both in there. See, these the two I'm gonna have tomorrow. These two reefers. Battlesboro gonna go back up to Vermont. Send somebody else up there. Yeah, you go get that too. And then this one, he going to New York. Going to Florida, New York. Gonna get that one too.
Go to
We
New
got
York.
to run the Northeast. All right. But we starting with these reefer loads. And when you're looking at these reefer loads, you gotta pay. You're looking at the money, but the money comes with something. See, 1800, you can book now for 1800. right there, 825. Got 70 miles deadhead. Is that a good load?
What 70 miles dead here?
Yeah, 70 miles deadhead, 875. I mean 825. Is that a good load?
I don't think so.
Me either.
This
Cause
ain't right.
I'm damn sure not gonna haul 42,000 pounds. Okay. Got 42,000 pounds right there.
Right.
Almost 43. And then I'm only getting 800. I mean 1800. So I gotta add that, add here. I'm at 895. That's barely over $2 a mile. I'm not doing that.
Man, this,
Okay. So you have to look for these loads, and then basically when I teach you how to talk to them, and then ask the questions to ask, then boom, here you go. But here it is, like you're going to be looking at this a lot throughout this training because you want to basically pick up things that's quick. Even if you're looking for, like, you can click on everything and look at the comments. Look at because you're gonna learn something as you go. You're gonna learn a different language on what these different brokers are saying and these different type of loads that's going on, so you know what to do on the next one. Helps you, with your mind. All of this stuff, hazmat, right here, tanker endorsement.
tanker. I had it.
So that right there is gonna, all right. Look, Landstar Ranger, where they going? Saratoga Springs, New York to Rome, Georgia. So look at these when you're basically at these load boards, you're researching it. You're researching these loads as you go. Because even though he can't take it, I remember that they doing what I say a couple days ago. Who had a hazmat? Is that Mimi? Your husband just got it.
Right.
My husband just got a hazmat. He also got the tanker endorsement too.
And what I say yesterday,
Go with
Lance
Lance. Yeah.
hazmat.
Mhm.
I bet you that right there. I bet you right there, boy. You going 1,000 miles? I bet you get about 4,300
Oh wow.
out of that. 4,300, and it's only 19,000. Come on now. You didn't went through the. Just
Do they
look
get
at it.
paid more with doubles and triples, or
Huh? What was that?
I said, do they get paid more with the hazmat than they do with the doubles and triples?
That's about even.
Right.
That's about even.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Negotiation and everything. All goes the same. You just gotta know. You just gotta know how to get them, get it.
You
You
said
know what
with
I
the
Okay.
mean? You just got to know how to. You just got to know how to get it. That's it. Because it's like no more. Like you're gonna know, because you're gonna be going through it. The question that you just asked, watch, you're gonna be answering yourself. You be like, yeah, y'all both getting some money. So I just gotta figure out what carrier got it. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'll do. I went out. I've seen hazmat loads. I went out and found one. Dig one up. I was digging while I was doing everything else because I wanted shit. But you want to know what? It comes with a heavy price, boy. It comes with a heavy price with the hazmat. But learn it.
You mean
Why?
learning to transport it or everything that like comes with, you know? transporting.
transporting. Because when you like, as I feel, as when they're on the road, then I'm on the road, and the best time for a hazmat to really be going is like during the night.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You know what
Why
I
is
mean?
that?
Because it's less traffic on the road.
Yeah.
Okay. I know
They
they
like to
say
go.
most 18-wheeler accidents happen at night, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, they like, well, not hazmat. Has like the percentage of hazmat is down. I feel, but who am I to say? Because I had a hazmat spill back in October.
Mm.
So you know what I mean. Less than a year in, hello. You know what I mean, and that's a whole nother level of what you have to do and what you have to learn. If you have a a carrier with hazmat, it's best that you go through that training. It's best that you go and get that certification and know the way to handle things. Because you don't want to be the one, with the load, and then next thing you know, something's going on. Here's the driver, the carrier. We don't know if the carrier got in touch with, and you know what I mean, things of that nature. You don't know how bad it is. So, it's good to learn that process so you know what to do to go when it happens. Got box truck. I'm gonna have a truck in Columbus tomorrow. And you see how look at these rates with box trucks.
Oh.
You know, they're not the best, but guess what? Reefer, reefer
Mhm.
unit, box truck, 24 foot,
Decent for me.
2000. Looking at that, you already know that's good just by looking at it. 620 miles. So you talking make 720, 721?
Mm.
Give me that.
Too damn short. Only 9,000 pounds. 2,000. I'm wondering.
So if my guy had a reefer, it would have been nice because he could go down to Georgia. He can go down to Georgia, and I got reefer loads coming from Dalton, Georgia, going back up to Virginia in Ohio. I like the reefer. I like the reefer units. You know, Ohio to New York. That's a pretty decent load. Box truck. That's a pretty decent load. So, look at the loads. Analyze everything. Analyze it all. Cool. Now, here's the nitty gritty right here. This is it. All right. This is what you have to really pay attention of is these markets. All right, because when you pay attention to the markets, then you know then you know how to negotiate it. Remember, I was talking about markets and all these places, but now here we go. You get real into depth when you know these markets, because you know where to send these trucks. You know where to go. You know what to do. You know what areas is pulling what. You know what shippers and brokers or where they have in the lanes. That's why they call it lanes, and they call it basically lanes and round trips, everything. That's in part of top types of loads. But I go over types of loads too right here. But matter of fact, let me do that real quick right here. Reefer loads, you're going to get mainly about flour, meats, and milk. Dry vans, you're going to get about tires, pallets, windows. That's the things that some of the things that I pull. So people do pallets exchanges, everything. Round trips. Okay. Round trips is basically when, you start one place, you go to another, and then you come back. You either come back with it empty or they have you full coming back. Okay? So if they basically pick up and they send you back with it empty, then you need to get a load coming back. Always. Right here, right here, RRS, that's the round Reuben stutter. Okay? Round Reuben stutter, you want to get a load, get a round trip load. If you're going from Maryland to Ohio, you coming back empty, put a load in it. Now you got to, even though you start with a power only or whatever it may be, put a load in it. Now you're looking for van loads. Get you a van load coming back so you can maximize your profit. You got load outs. Load out is what I'm on. Okay? Load out's what I'm doing right now. My power only, don't have a van, don't have a trailer, don't have a reefer or nothing. So what we doing, they said they want their trailer moved from, Brattleboro, Vermont to DeBunk, Maryland. We got 10 days with it. So we're gonna ride with it with 10 days and put it back. That's a load out. Okay? Your towaway is basically, you're just towing away an empty trailer to the next destination. You can't fill it. You can't. They won't let you. They put tracking on it. They'll put tracking on it just to make sure that you on the route of heading from point A to point B. You can't do point A to point B. You can't do that. But with the loadout, you can. Dropping hooks. You come across dropping hooks. That's basically picking up an empty or loaded, going somewhere and dropping it. Okay? Flatbeds. You're going to basically be dealing with generators. Make sure that your flatbeds have straps, binders. Make sure that they have that. Ask them. Because these are the type of loads that you're going to come across. You're gonna come across more loads, hazmat loads, doubles loads, like we already talked about. These are just the brief ones to just give you an idea that if what you're dealing with, you're going to be, this is what you're going to be pulling. Dedicated lanes. Now, livestock. Most of the livestock, when you look at it, it comes from the western states. All that cattle, that livestock. So always think about that. Now the pull of the livestock, that's good. And you can do that with hot shots, power onlys. They just pull it. You just pulling food, pulling chickens, live chickens. You know what I mean? You ever be driving down the highway and you see live chickens with a can and they let me out. You know what I mean? Pulling that livestock, good money. Pulling horses, you're gonna get a lot of you'll get a lot of that in Kentucky, in those areas. when you're looking at where these tracks is, in northern New Jersey and parts of Pennsylvania and Kentucky and Louisiana and Florida. Some of those places, livestock, they just basically interchange horses. They interchange them. They send a horse down here, they trade them and everything. So that's something that you can look into, and some of that is local. You come across that, there's somebody saying that they own horses. If you come across anybody that say they own a horse, then you need to latch on to them because they're good. Hey, to feed a horse is more than a house. If y'all know about horses, if you know anything about horses, feeding a horse a year is more than a house. All right. So these are the type of loads. These are the type of loads that you're going to be coming across. You're going to be looking at the expedited loads with the box trucks. That's why you got to know the dimensions of how many pallets you have. You got to know how many pallets, how many pallets that you can fit in the box truck. And even if you can fit, like, because standard the box truck's going to fit 13 pallets. Okay. Now, if they're 48, all the way around, then yeah, you're gonna fit it. But you can't have one that's, is 48 width, another one's 54, another one's 41, another one's 51. You got to pay attention to that. Because then next day it's going to be all off course. It's going to be all off. You can't stack it up, and then heaven forbid they say you can't stack it. So now you got to worry about fitting it all in. So you got to always make sure that when you're talking to the broker on these types of loads, you're going to have to make sure that the pallet size is the pallet size, and make sure that the however many pallets that they have, that they can fit it in your box truck. Because that happens a lot where you're going to book a load, and guess what? The dimensions was off, and you can't pick up the load. So these are the type of loads that you're gonna look at, you gotta know about, especially the round Reuben stutter. That's gonna become your best friend. Is a round Reuben stutter. When you're doing a round trip and you're allowed to use the empty on the way back. All right. So now, like I was saying, back to the markets. Gotta know your markets. The Midwest. The Midwest is probably the most profitable area. Everything happens in the Midwest. Okay, that's why a lot of people, a lot of carriers, they love the Midwest because you got these reefer loads. I like the Midwest myself. Okay, it's also good for box trucks because that's the small expedited rate. Like you can basically move. You can move from here in Indiana all the way down um to Missouri, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, all these areas, especially all up in here. So you can move all the way around with a box truck. You're gonna get good miles and good rates, good low miles and good rates. And while you're there, build your shippers list because that's where they're coming from. Some of them's coming from. especially right there in the Chicago area next to the ports. So know the Midwest, but that's also going with finding your niche. Find your niche with your carrier. Find a niche with the equipment that you're good at, that you work with, and analyze and research that area, because everything is research. Always remember, just because you see something or you get something, just because you can't use it now, you can use it later. I've been doing that. I've been doing that all day. I do that while I work. You know, you got some tolls in there. Got to watch out for the weather, 'cause especially in the weather with the city. You know, that's things that have to think about when booking a load, when you're sending them there. The Northeast. Northeast is tricky. Got bad parking there. Got a lot of van loads and some reefer loads. That's what I'm running. I'm in the Northeast right now. So it's there's loads in there. There's loads up there. Just got to know how to work it, figure it out, and know when you know the market, you can ask for the money. Oh, 4100. You talking about? I remember BBI. I remember that load. They started off at 30. Yeah, they was at 3500. Yep. 41. Nah, I ain't do that load, Joe. I ain't do it. Got that extra $600. Didn't even take it. But that's what could happen. Like that's could really happen. You're going to get good at it, but you're going to have to take it serious. You're going to have to want to get good every day. You got to want to get good every day and get better and just manage it your way. You got bridges in the Northeast, George Washington Bridge. Tolls is crazy up there. And the George Washington Bridge, man, I'm telling you, it gets crazy, it gets hectic, you got traffic. That's where most of all your traffic. That's where most of all your traffic's going to be. And then you're going to have to make sure that your driver is experienced enough. Because when you go up there, you have to be an experienced driver. You have to be an experienced driver. So know the Northeast. Know all these markets that you're going to learn about. Whatever state that you in now, just break it down. All right, I'm in this market. Research it. Research your market. All right, let me see what I got out. Let me see what I got around here. Because there's truckers all the way. There's truckers all over the place. There's carriers all over the place. You're probably living next door to one. Probably living next door to one. Just driving a truck. You know. So just know these areas, and when you know these areas, it's gonna be better. It'll benefit you, so you can negotiate. You know what's going on. You know what your driver can do. You know how to maneuver around. It's good because you're gonna go to your map. You're gonna see the routes. The routes is gonna basically help you strengthen your mind. So now you can talk the routes. So always be prepared for it. The South, good place to run. except for 2 states to me, Texas and Florida. You can't really hardly get out of those, so you got to make sure that if you them 2 states, you got to make sure that you are, because you don't want to send any of your carriers. I don't care what equipment they driving. You don't want to send them there and not have a way for them to get out. That can happen. So don't like just know these markets, because you're like Florida, you're gonna see it. Texas, you're gonna see it. But what I like about the South, there's always a positive. There's always a positive because they got the port work around there in Virginia, around here in South Carolina, down there in Charleston, right here in Norfolk. You come right down here in Greenville, Miami. They got port work. My guy down there. So you got a lot of port work, and that's good. That's real good. I said good luck. I ain't say don't go. Just because it's a bad area doesn't mean that you can't work it. You can work everything. You can work every region that you want. You don't have to think that, oh well, I gotta stay out of there. Work every region. Just get better. Just find something that you're good at. That you know. It's all going to come collectively along as you grow. The West, got to know about the West. When you know about the West, you're gonna have to know about the fuel. You gotta hey, you running in the West, you better get fuel in Nevada. You gotta get fuel in Nevada before you go into California, because he'll waste more gas in the traffic than he is driving. Okay, the curb, that's basically like Hut. Remember we talked about Hut yesterday? Just a little bit. So you know what I mean? Like Hut, you gotta have the fuel tax, what they got going on over there. Then you gotta look at, and I gotta look. But you also gotta look about the trucks, because I think it's 2012. I think after anything before 2013 or something like that, you can't go to California or something. They got some kind of year restriction on trucks, because some of these cheaper trucks and these older trucks, they still run good, but they can't run in certain in the state if they have a emission problem or a emission clause or anything of that nature going into that state. So you basically got to have like a newer truck, you know. So you gotta look out, you gotta watch out for that as well. Oregon has port permits. They have permits in their states for their taxes and for what you can do and haul. Okay, and in the West, you're gonna have a lot of potato loads. A lot of potato loads in the West. They call it the 11 Western states. That's what it is. The 11 Western states, and you can Hey, and it's not bad to run that area. It's not bad to run that area. We got a guy in Wyoming. I always thought Wyoming, but he's all the way in east right now. He's in New Hampshire. He got a ranch in Wyoming, and he's in New Hampshire and got a house out there. You know what I mean? So you're gonna find people all over the country, but you got to know what's going on. You got to know where to go because you don't want to send your driver somewhere and he can't get out. You don't want to send him anywhere that's got bad weather. So there's a lot of things to think about, and that's why it's good for you to know it. All right. Now this is the van rates. This is from last month. Okay. This from last month. Now on DAT, when you're talking about knowing rates, and in these areas, they help you figure out the rate. They tell you the average of what's going on. Okay. So now that you know the average, that helps you with your negotiation to where you're like, hey man, this lane is running $3 a mile. You trying to give me 280 because you already know where he's at. You already know where you want to be at. So when you know when you know the rates in these areas, you could sit there and you could talk to them regular. When you know what you're going into, you could talk to them regular.